All right, let's get right into it. Welcome, fellow students of the cosmos, to this explainer. Today, we are putting on our researcher hats and opening up the ancient, revered texts of Vedic astrology. Specifically, we're diving into Chapter 27 of the Brihit Parashara Hora Shastra, which is an incredible chapter that takes profound philosophical concepts and transforms them into undeniable, precise mathematics. We're going to decode Graha Sput Drishti, what I like to call the mathematics of the cosmic laser beam. So prepare yourselves, because we are moving way beyond simple zodiac signs today and getting deep into the exacting geometric formulas laid down by sage Parashara thousands of years ago.
So, here's our roadmap for today's explainer. 1. The cosmic laser beam. 2. General rules of Drishti. 3. Calculating angles. 4. Saturn's special math. 5. Mars's special math. And finally, 6. Measuring strength and Vrupas. I'll be your guide, step by step. Let's do this.
Section 1. The Cosmic Laser Beam.
Okay, let's dive into this. You know, in Western astrology, we often just translate Drishti as an aspect. But philosophically, in the Vedic tradition, it's so much more. A planet isn't just sitting there, dormant in a zodiac sign. It is an active, conscious entity. It actively seeks to connect, projecting this literal line of sight, a cosmic laser beam of energetic influence, straight across the geometric space of the zodiac. What Sage Parashara reveals in this chapter is that this gaze isn't just some vague feeling. It actually has a highly specific, mathematically measurable trajectory.
So what actually is Drishti? We define it as the specific intersecting angle of planetary sites spanning the zodiac. Now, the Sanskrit root literally relates to seeing, but its practical significance for us in this text is as a quantifiable angle of cosmic energy. It is the literal energetic geometry of the universe, plotted perfectly on a 360-degree circle.
To pull off the calculations in Chapter 27, we absolutely must distinguish between two critical roles. First up is the Drishti Graha. This is the aspector. It's the planet that's looking, the one firing off that laser beam. Second, we have the Drisya Graha, the aspected planet, the one receiving the gaze. The entire mathematical relationship between the viewer and the viewed forms the absolute foundation of our calculations today.
Section 2. General Rules of Drishti.
Now, before we get into the wild mathematical exceptions for Saturn and Mars, we really need to nail down the baseline rules of planetary sight. The ancient tabular format of the Drishti chakra from our source text brilliantly illustrates exactly how the sages mapped out aspectual strength. It wasn't just a simple on or off switch, it was measured in very specific fractions and quarters. So the standard rules dictate that all planets project a full 100% aspect onto the 7th house from where they sit. But for the other houses, the aspects increase gradually in these slabs of quarters, 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, and full. And sure, knowing these basic sign-based aspects is great for everyday astrology. But Parashara is telling us that by using some subtle mathematical calculations, we can find the exact proportionate effects. Honestly, that is the true goal of this chapter.
Section 3. Calculating aspectual angles.
Okay, here is the foundational algorithm you absolutely have to execute before you can find any planet's specific strength. Let's walk through this together. Step 1. Lock in the exact longitude of the aspected planet. Step 2. You take that longitude and deduct it from the aspecting planet's longitude. Now, what if the aspected planet's longitude is mathematically smaller? Easy. That's step 3. You simply add 360 degrees to the aspected planet's longitude so you can actually do the subtraction. Whatever number you get from this deduction, that's your base aspectual angle, and it is the master key for everything else we're about to calculate.
Section 4. Saturn's special Drishti math.
So with our base angle locked in, we can dive into the incredibly specific, frankly fascinating formulas of Chapter 27, starting with the heavy, powerful gaze of Saturn. Verse 3 lays out Saturn's special math. The original Sanskrit reads, Evam rasha dekeshe shano drashtarebo dvij, egaba nove baga bhukta bogya dviguna. There is just a profound reverence in reading this ancient code out loud. But what does a literal parsing of these terms mean in practice? Well, shano refers to Saturn, Drashtari means when aspecting, and Bhaga translates to degrees. This verse is giving us precise fractional adjustments based purely on geometric distance.
So here's the crucial point when we translate these conditional rules into simple English. Once you have your base angle, you check its size and zodiac signs.
If the sum is greater than one sign, you drop the signs and simply multiply the remaining degrees by 2. If it's over 9 signs, you take the degrees left to elapse and double those. If the difference is over 2 signs, you halve the excess degrees and subtract that number from 60. And finally, if it exceeds 8 signs, you just take the degrees and add a flat 30 to get your final drishti value. Kind of like a cosmic logic puzzle, right?
Seriously, think of this like a cosmic computer program. Step 1 is establishing your base longitudinal difference. Step 2 is your if-then statement, checking which sign rule triggers based on how wide that angle is. And step 3 is the execution. You apply the specific multiplier, division, or addition. Just like that, you've transformed a basic placement into a highly specific, mathematically weighted value. And if we consult the original source material, over on page 125, we find the section on Saturn's specialty, right next to the Saturn Drishti's Food Curve Diagram 1. This text diagram visually plots out that mathematical arc we just walked through. It shows exactly how Saturn's heavy influence peaks and drops at very specific degree thresholds. It is quite literally a geometric map of karmic restriction, graphing out precisely how intensely Saturn's energy lands across different points of the zodiac.
Section 5. Mars' Special Drishti Math.
Now we are shifting gears from the heavy, restrictive gaze of Saturn to the sharp, aggressive, and highly specific math governing Mars. For Mars, we look to verse 4. Tris saptame tu bohomasya shashtira nalavonita, sardha shasti fisam yukta dvibeherupam sharangabe. Once again, this ancient code dictates exactly how Mars's cosmic laser beam behaves geometrically. Breaking down the Sanskrit, Bhomasya means of Mars, referring to its specific gaze, and Shasti means 60. A literal read here commands precise additions or reductions based on exact sign distances.
When we translate verse 4, Mars's unique behavior becomes super clear. Check this out. If the longitudinal sum is exactly 3 or 7 signs, you take the degrees and reduce them from 60. If the sum is over 2 signs, you take the degrees, increase them by half, meaning you add 50%, and then you literally super add 15 to that total. And the final rule is beautifully simple. If the sum is exactly 6 signs, the value of Mars's aspect is exactly 1 rupa, maximum strength, full stop.
When we compare the two planets' formulas side by side, their distinct mathematical vibes are so obvious. Look at Saturn's rule for being over 2 signs. You're halving and deducting from 60. It acts almost like a dampener, pulling back. But Mars's rule for being over 2 signs, you increase by 50% and super add 15. It's an aggressive mathematical expansion that perfectly fits the bold, fiery nature of the red planet.
Section 6. Measuring strength in Virupas. So we've done all this math. We've added, we've subtracted, we've super added, but what is our final unit of measurement? The magic number is 60. Throughout chapter 27, and honestly, whenever we calculate planetary strengths in this text, the target unit is always 60.
Let's look at how the Virupa scale brings this all together. The text uses this term Virupa, which denotes Shashtiamsas or Kalas. 60 of these specific units make exactly 1 rupa. The Virupa is the absolute standard unit for planetary aspectual strength. So when you're crunching those wild formulas for Saturn and Mars, what you are ultimately trying to find is the exact fraction out of 60 that their cosmic laser beam is operating at. It's just a brilliant way to standardize energetic strength across every single astrological chart.
And honestly, that is the true genius of chapter 27. It takes this sweeping, philosophical concept, the idea that the planets are actually conscious, actively looking at each other, and it grounds it in undeniable empirical math. It proves that Vedic astrology isn't just poetry or intuition. It is a highly structured numeric science of celestial mechanics.
In our upcoming explainers, we're going to take this mathematical foundation and apply it to the 6 sources of emotional strength, diving even deeper into the mechanics of the cosmos. But for now, I want to leave you with this. Knowing that these energies aren't random, that they are calculated down to the precise degree, how might the mathematically proven laser beams of Saturn and Mars be shaping the energetic geometry of your own life right now? Think about it. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive, and as always, keep your eyes on the